and welcome to the Kitchen Knitter Podcast. My podcast where I share with you what I've been knitting and sewing. I'm Suzanne. I live in the northwest of England and this is my little channel. I have 2 finished objects and a couple of whips and some plans. I'm going to try and come on every couple of weeks, and I just have to not get bogged down with content, just show you what I've been doing. So I cast on the Jakers sweater by Isabel Kramer, and that's the pattern there, and I'm using yarn from Wool and Twine, Euler, who is in Germany, and that's her label. And this is 50% Shetland, 50% Romney in the light grey colour. Now I thought I'd have more to show than just this, because I cast it on Friday, and I got quite well into it. I did the short row shaping, I did the extra stitches, you know, the MLs and the MLR and all that, and suddenly I was looking at it and thinking, this isn't right, and it was twisted. So the whole, I mean, I had to pull back about that much. You can see there. So I started again this afternoon. I sort of again looked at it and thought, oh, I can't believe this, and it might just magically correct itself, but I had to pull it all back. So I'm now onto the bit where I do the short row, the German short rows. It's an absolutely beautiful yarn. I've never had yarn from Wool and Twine before. It's locally sourced, and it's just absolutely lovely, beautiful, and that is the perfect light grey. And did I say it was 50% Shetland, 50% Romney? It's not itchy, it's not toothy. I think I could wear that against my skin. So I'm probably not pronouncing that properly, but I'm making the Jakers. I think on my last podcast I thought, you know, I'm bored with what I'm doing, and I thought my podcasts were boring as well. So I've decided just to have a whole new. I've shelved the pink cardigan, I've shelved the grey cardigan. I don't like garter stitch, I've decided. I like the smoothness of stocking stitch. So I've got some new plans. There's a couple of finished objects, but I thought I would start with what I've got on my needles. And I bought 5 skeins. It was a splurge. But well worth it. I'm really looking forward to being able to wear this, and that's the other thing I want to do, is to knit something I'm going to wear, rather than just knit it because it's what everybody else is knitting, or it looks nice, whatever. Will I wear it? And also knit it to the correct size. In my head, I am a 6 foot tall willowy blonde. So when I look in the mirror, oh, this disappointment. So I need to just address the situation, and so I bought 5 skeins. So I'm going to have the right amount of positive ease, because in the jumpers that I've knitted in the past, I've used up all the positive ease. So that's on the needles, and I'm not sure. It's Jakers by Isabel Kramer. I'm filming this in the evening. I've never done that before, but my husband has gone out. I think I said in my last podcast he's retired and he's around a lot, and it's a bit And I podcast on, no, I didn't podcast, I filmed on Friday. I'm back on my camera, but I was filming on my laptop, and when I went to edit it, and I was trying to be all a bit tricky-dicky, as I said, I wasn't going to be tricky-dicky, but I was tricky-dicky, and it all went horribly wrong. It just, you know, the music was coming over when I was speaking, my little intro was at the end. I thought, oh, just be simple, nice and simple. So that's as far as I've got with my Jacobs sweater, and we'll see. Finished objects, I think, well, you've seen these loads of times. These are my perfectly plain vanilla socks. I use the pattern, the Winnick Mum, and slip stitch heel and gusset, 2x2 rib, and I decided to do the 3 needle bind off with this because I was getting a bit fed up with Kitchener Stitch, but I'm not actually sure. I've either not done it correctly or I'm just not happy with the result. Might go back to Kitchener Stitch. But the yarn I used was Bird Street yarn, and this is Pebbles on the Beach. It's very, and the other thing, holding this up to my camera, it's not blurring, and it's just, I don't know, I think my phone camera is just so much better than the laptop. Anyway, we'll see. I think it's trial and error. So those are my socks. The other thing I finished, which, you know, I'm going to jump about a bit, this is sewing, and this is the little quilt I did for Rose, and I did it in flannel. So it's only a small quilt, it's just, you know, she can lie on it. I think I was a little bit over enthusiastic with the ironing because some of my little squares have gone a little awry, but maybe that is my bad sewing. But that's, now you see, when I was doing the podcast on the laptop, this was all just, I was in the dark, and this was just kind of like blurry. It wasn't good. So, but that is good. So that's the you get that little pop of mustard, and then that's the back. Now, I've never sewn with flannel before. It's very soft. It's very lovely, and I had a go. At quilting. I ran this diagonally, this middle section down through my sewing machine. I haven't got a quilting foot, and I think I will invest in one. My sewing machine has what they term a quilting foot, but it's not really. I had to really force it through the. So, I mean, the pattern tells you to come down this way as well. I've shown this before, so this is the finished object, and it's not perfect, but Rose isn't going to mind, is she? So that's my 2 finished objects. So now it's just kind of like plans, really. I was lucky enough to win what do they call it? Woolen Wishes podcast reached 1,000. They're more than that now, but they reached 1,000 subscribers. I think way back in November, and a giveaway. That's it, a giveaway, and you just had to comment. And I try and comment on the podcasts I watch, just, you know, just to let them know that it's been watched rather than dislike. So I left a comment about, you know, they showed this, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And I said, oh, I said, that's absolutely lovely, and I'm going to go over to the website and have a look. It was all sold out. However, the following podcast that I watched, and I was knitting away, and they said they were going to announce the giveaway, the winner of the giveaway, and I thought, I'm sure I've made a comment on that. And it came up, the kitchen knit. I was absolutely delighted, and commented and said. So I think I will knit, because I don't buy minis very often, but I will knit the litmus cowl with this. I haven't looked at the pattern a lot, but I'm thinking, because I think the litmus cowls that I've seen, it's been 2 colours and then another colour in between, but I think I will use all these in the litmus cowl. And I was looking for something that I could use in between all these colours, and I found this in my stash. I don't have a big stash, but I found this, and it's an Eden Cottage yarn 4-ply, Bedell 4-ply, and it's in bark. And I bought it, and it's baby yaks, and this is yak. This is sock yak 4-ply, superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon. And I thought I could, I want to say intersperse, so I'm not sure that's the right word, and make a litmus cowl. And I could, because it's a provisional cast on, and it's tubular knitting, and that's not something I've done before, so I think I think I'll need to take my time over it. But I thought that's what I'd do with that. But I was absolutely delighted. I don't win things very often, but this was absolutely, I was delighted, gorgeous. And it's I've not said who it's from. It's Blue Fern Yarns. Those colours are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And it's the autumn collection 2022. And I'm like, but I'm not sure that's enough actually. I'm not sure. Anyway, but that was an idea. I think I've said before, I'm not very good at putting colours together in my head. The other thing, I've bought a few things. I've had a little splurge, and Emma from the Woolly Mammoth Fibre Co had an update. I think she's having them more regularly than she used to, and I bought 4 of these, 4 skeins of the hearth sock in Jacob, 50% Jacob, 50% BFL, and this is the colourway Fern, which is my middle name. But I'm going to knit I fancy a pair of long socks. I was watching, I do watch Jules' podcast, So Sweet Violet, but it was her Instagram post where she posted she'd knitted some long socks and she was wearing them with a dress. And I thought, they look absolutely lovely. And I thought, I'm going to knit some long socks. So this is one pair that I'm going to do, and it's the Harvest Season Socks by, I'm not even going to attempt to say that name, I'll probably murder it, but it's, and there's a bit of a pattern at the top, and then it looks like it just kind of ribbed, so I'm going to have a go at those, make some toothy socks. And the other well, I've got 4 skeins of them, proof we needed, but I don't know what I'll do with those, because I thought I could do the Sunday morning wrap, and then when I looked at the pattern properly, it's a DK and this is fingering, so I'll have to think of something else to do for that. So that's a sock pattern in the making. The other thing I got, this is treasure. This Lerka from Fibre Tales, and I've said that in my best Danish, had an update, and she only has these a couple of times a year, and the wool comes from her her parents' farm, where they have a small herd of Gotland, and it is the most gorgeous. And this is dark grey. Dark grey. I've no idea what I'm going to knit with this. I've got 4 skeins. It is 75% organic Gotland and 25% Falkland Merino, fingering weight. But I'm going to knit something quite special with this because it is gorgeous, and it is really soft. You could wear that next to your skin. It's beautiful, and it is the most gorgeous grey. Gorgeous. So I shall be looking out for something special to knit with that. So when I looked to this, and I really would like to knit this Sunday morning wrap, and that's the pattern from Espace Tricot. It's just again, it's grey. It's gorgeous. I'm just so pulled to grey, to muddy palettes. So I've got it in my stash, and I don't have a big stash, as I've said before, but I've got some of this West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece, which is DK, and I've got 3 skeins, which is what you need, and I think I will cast on a Sunday morning wrap. It's just a really lovely shawl. There's not too much fussy detail, but you've got a little bit of detail there, and it's one of these you can wrap around. Lovely. So I've got 3 skeins. The other thing I've got is the latest book club from Sherry Iris, which is Wuthering Heights, and that is lovely. These are always a surprise. You don't know what you're getting, and sometimes they're a little bit too bright, but I would knit this. I don't like bright colours, but I would knit this for myself. It's very muted. It's lovely, caramels and greens, and I've been up to Haworth, to the parsonage, and it's very atmospheric. It's a beautiful place. Yeah, just that will be a nice pair of socks. Again, I think it'll be plain. I think I will stick to pattern socks when it's a tonal, but I could make a really nice plain pair of socks with that. So that was just it's just a little bit of an update, really, as to I've shelved other things. I think I was getting a bit bored, and I think my podcast was getting a little bit boring too. I wasn't showing anything new, anything different, anything exciting, really. So I hope to come back in a couple of weeks with some more to show you, and get things finished, things on the needles. Yeah, I'm still knitting on the baby blanket, but I'm nearly to the point where I'll start the border. But I mean, it's not any different, really. It's a blanket. it's still the same. But yeah, I could. I did some sewing as well over the weekend. I made 2 dresses. Again, my usual Hattie dress with the sleeves from Merchant and Mills, the Hattie and Ellis pattern. I think I've got some more material, and I think I might make a skirt. I haven't made a skirt for a long time. The one thing I've not said is I've got an Instagram account. It's the Kitchen Knitter on Instagram, and I've posted pictures of the dresses on Instagram. I'm the Kitchen Knitter. It's a very random account. I post little bits of the garden and bird song, sewing if I think it's, you know, it's going to make a nice picture. Random bits and pieces. Our little weekend in Finland in January. Yeah. So that's, I think I need to come on a lot more often so that I'm not out of practice and I'm not forgotten about. But that's me, isn't it? That's up to me to come on and just show you what I've been doing. And I'm really challenging myself with this Jacobs jumper because it's German short rows, which I've got to. I think I said I had. Did I say? I can't remember now. I had to pull it all back. I got to the German short rows, and then I was going to do. There was a row where you added more stitches. There is a name for that. I've forgotten. But and then I was looking at it, and I thought I've twisted it. And why did I not see that before? I must have. Oh, I was counting the stitches at one point, but I just did not see that I had twisted it. And I was looking at it this afternoon, as you do, and you think, no, I can't believe I've done this. So it all had to come out. So now I'm at the point where I'll do the German short rows and the increase rows, and then the lace pattern starts, and it's all on the yoke. So, and I've not knitted a top-down jumper for a while. I think the last one I did was my dress gown. So why I wasn't more careful, I don't know. But I prefer to knit all these in one piece rather than the back and then the front and then the sleeves. I think I prefer it top down and all in one. So, did I say it was Monday evening? Did I say this was the 13th of March? And I'm recording this in the evening when my husband's out. See, that's the thing, you know. I mean, he could burst through the door now, because I've no idea how long he's going to be out. But I will tidy all this away, and I will come back in a couple of weeks and show you some progress. I'm still reading the Terrible Kindness. And it's a lovely book. It's. I think if I said too much about it, it would be a bit of a spoiler. But it's. You haven't got to be put off by the subject, which is the Aberfan disaster. He's just the main character, William. He's just such a lovely. Well, up to now, I'm halfway through it, and he's such a lovely young man. And I want to read it. I go to bed, I want to read it. Yeah. And I subscribe to Audible, just £1 a month, and I've got. I'm listening to the latest Ellie Griffiths book. It's the Dr. Ruth Galloway series, and I got into it just before lockdown, and I started with the first. I think they are quite standalone because they do recap on certain things, but it's good to go back to the first one and read them through. She's a forensic pathologist based in Norfolk, and she gets involved with crime. I don't particularly like crime novels, but this is a little bit different because sometimes it's not always a modern day crime. It's because it's Norfolk. There's a lot of ancient burial sites and things come to the surface every now and again, and she comes and does her pathology work on the remains. But she's also involved with the policeman, and but it's in a really nice way. It's not. I just think it's really well written, and it's a lovely book to follow. It's a story to follow. It's yeah, and it's written by Ellie Griffiths. She does other things. She writes under another name, and she does a couple of other series with police. But I really got into this one, and I'm listening to that on Audible. I try and listen sometimes. I think, oh, I'll just listen to it when I go to bed. Well, I just fall asleep, and so I listen to that during the day, sewing or knitting. Sewing, it's a bit difficult because of the sewing machine, but particularly when I'm sitting knitting, it's quite nice to listen to. There's nothing on the radio that I want to listen to. And the other, in my queue, I've got Claire Hunter's book, and it's about Mary Queen of Scots and her embroidery. I can't remember the title, but it's Claire Hunter, and it just sounded lovely. And I haven't listened to it yet, but it's all about when Mary Queen of Scots spent a lot of time in prison, didn't she? She was just sort of locked up in towers and in Scotland, and there's not much else to do but all this beautiful embroidery. I think a lot of her work is in Scone Palace in Scotland, but I remember reading a long time ago the Antonia Fraser's biography of Mary Queen of Scots, and that was very readable, and very interesting. It's a very interesting part of history. So I've got that in that's to listen to next, and I will finish A Terrible Kindness, and I haven't got anything lined up after that. I'll just have to see, but I do like recommendations, and yeah, reading, knitting, sewing, all sedentary hobbies. Gardening, but it's not proper gardening. The weather's been so awful, I've not been in the garden at all. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there, and I will come back with some proper finished objects, probably in the day when the light is better, and I don't feel like I'm rushing. But anyway, thank you for watching.